This is Mary Lane from the Buying Space channel. In the past month, I had purchased a religious lot from Paul Antonelli, and it included a Torah, and I thought I would read the Old Testament from the Torah. Oh, that's right. This is the end of the book. This is the beginning of the book. And it's not the King James Version or any other version a Christian would use. The Torah here is written in Hebrew. Here's chapter 1, here's chapter 2, and here's chapter 3. So I'll start reading here on chapter 3 and end up here. So I'll have to go, wait a minute. Okay, that's right. For a minute I thought that was chapter 11, but that's Roman numerals. So here we go with Genesis chapter 3, translated into English from the Hebrew. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Hath God indeed said, Ye shall not eat of any tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, Of all the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat. But the fruit of the tree which is the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall surely not die, for God doth know that on the day ye eat thereof, your eyes will be opened, and ye will be as God, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree was desirable to make one wise. She took of the fruit, and did eat, and gave also to her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew the heaven and everything that creepeth upon the earth, whereas is life, if I have given every herb for food, that it was so. And God saw everything he hath made. Okay, that's not the correct way to go. Hold on. Okay, let me start over with verse 7, because this book runs backwards, and I thought this goes into another chapter, but it doesn't. This is still chapter 3. So it's going to take me a minute to get used to this. So starting again at chapter 7, and the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they saw fig leaves, sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. And they heard one voice of the Lord walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. So they were ashamed and they hid. And the Lord God called unto man and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, Thy voice I heard in the garden, and I was afraid, because I am naked. And I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou art naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree? Wherefore I commanded thee that thou shouldn't not eat. And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest me to be with, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Not his fault. Right? Wrong. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, be thou cursed from among all the cattle and all the beasts of the field. Upon thy belly shall thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. He shall be bruised by head, and thou shalt wound his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy pain and thy suffering of thy conception. In pain now bring forth children, and for thy husband shall be thy desire, but he shall rule over thee. And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it, cursed be the ground for thy sake, in pain shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. And thorns and thistles shall bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herbs of the field. And in the sweat of thy face shall eat bread, until thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto the dust thou shalt return. And the man called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all the living. And the Lord God made unto Adam and his wife coats of skins, and clothed them. And the Lord said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And thou, lest ye put forth his hand, and take also the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. Therefore the Lord God set him forth from the Garden of Eden, to till the ground from which he was taken. So he drove out the man, and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim, and the flaming sword which revolveth, to guard the way to the tree of life. Wow. I had not read that in a very, very long time. It's different reading it in the direct translation than the King James Version of the Bible. Not very different, but it still tells the same story of desire and temptation and falling from grace from God. They lived in a paradise and they were innocent, but they couldn't control themselves. The serpent tempted them. So be careful out there. We all have different kinds of serpents in our lives. We all have different desires and temptations that we know are not good for us. So please pray and study and think about what you're doing to others. Be kind to everyone.